In this world that we call music, there is one word that we hate. There's one thing that we avoid. We don't like it. We use it wrong. It's the P word. What's going on, y'all? My name is Justin Murray. I am founder, owner, and operator of Str8 Up Productions, and I'm here to help you in this world of music. All right. Now, today we are talking about the P word. What is the P word? Practice. Practice. We are here to talk about practicing, what it means to practice, how to practice, what's involved in practicing. All right. Let's dive right in. So, practicing often gets confused with the term shedding, jamming, all that kind of stuff. To me, it's not really the same thing. Shedding is when you get together with some friends or get together with some other musicians that you may look up to, and you guys like work out different ideas, and you guys are like trading ideas back and forth. And that's where I'm going to leave that. Everyone has a different shedding experience. I would say that's what it's supposed to be. But anyway, I digress. Practicing is you by yourself working on your craft. Now, as I've stated, I'm here to help the rhythm section player, the singer, the arranger, the composer, the mixing engineer, all of you, okay? So, in practicing, you are working out those weak areas. I know. We don't like it. Why? Because there are weak areas. We don't sound as good because there are weak areas. All right. But we attack those areas to become better musicians. Okay. Here's the first thing that you need if you're an instrumentalist, if you are a vocalist. Here's the number one thing that I recommend that you have. That's a metronome. That is a metronome. Okay. Now we can find a bunch of free apps on our phone. All right. So the one I use is actually called Pro Metronome. I'm going to show you right now. There is a free version. I have the one that costs because you can do some extra things as far as time signatures, polyrhythms, certain practice exercises it has in the app. It's really cool. But it's a little device, right? And you set the tempo, you set your time signature, and it helps keep you in time. Okay? Timing is the downfall of so many musicians, myself included. All right. Now, while I have seen a lot of growth in that area, I can be a speed demon. I can, boy, I can take off. Something's feeling really good. I'm getting really excited. I'm in a good mood. Off to the races. It's not good. It's not good. All right. We want to stay in time. We want to stay locked in with everyone that's playing around us. We want to develop a good internal time clock so that way we can do all the good, fun stuff that we like, and the groove and the feel never gets thrown off. Okay? Moving on. What can we practice? Scales, arpeggios, intervals, ear training. Okay? What does that mean? Now I'm talking to all of you. All of you. Yes, the composer. Yes, the mixing engineer. You need to know scales. You need to be able to develop your ear. Okay. So let's talk about the different ways that we can work on these things. All right. Scales. Up and down. All right. Front to back. Know them all. Major scales. Minor scales. Diminished scales. Dominant scales. Blues scales. Pentatonic. Know them. Know what they sound like. Know how to create them. Know them in all your keys. No transposing. No transposing. Know their note names. Even you, vocalist, know the note names. If you're in A flat and I ask you what the fifth scale degree is, please be able to tell me E flat quickly. All right? Know what that sounds like. All right? No matter what key you're in, if you know what the one sounds like, be able to hear, to sing, to play the six, to play the two, to sing the 4. Know what that is. Know their chord qualities. Yes, you composer. Yes, you arranger. Know their chord qualities and possible chord qualities, right? Can a 4 be minor? Theoretically, no, but it's a nice sound, right? Can a 5 be major? Right? What does flat 6 sound like? Work on it. Know it. Composer, arranger, how can you use that in a composition? Okay? Practice that kind of stuff. Work out certain things. Use Sibelius, use Finale, use MuseScore. MuseScore is free. Use it and plug some different things in and see what you can come up with. Practicing can be fun. It can be fun. All right? Let's talk about ear training, practicing that guy. All right? Be able to identify the things that we just talked about. If you hear or are able to sit down at the piano and just play a dominant 7 chord, know what that sounds like. If you're listening to a piece, try to point out. Let's say you listen to a pop tune, right? Try to identify the chord progression without touching a piano at all. And I'm not asking you to have perfect pitch. I'm not saying that's a requirement. I don't want you to be able to say, oh, they're in the key of C and they're moving from a D minor 7 to it. No. Be able to say, oh, okay, that's a 2. That's a 6. That's a 5. And maybe pull up a chord chart and see how accurate you are. Right? Work on those things. Mixing engineer. Try to isolate some different frequency ranges. Right? See what's in the low area. See what's in the low mid area. See what's in the high area. Right? What frequencies those might be. 200, 600, 12K. What's in 100, 95. Right? Practice some mixing. All right? See if you can find somebody to send you some drum tracks or a vocal track and see what you can do with that. See if you can find somebody to send you a stem, a full tracked out song. Maybe it's a cover or whatever. And just mix it. See what you can do. Work on your panning. Work on your automation. Work on your EQing. Your use of compression. Right? Work on those things. Work on those things no matter what genre it is. Try mixing another genre. Try seeing if you can match a mix as close as possible. Just spend 30 minutes to an hour working on those things. See if you can speed up your mixing process, right? Not that always faster is better, but see if you can speed those things up. Composer. Work on composing for different instruments that you're not used to. Violin compositions, right? Vocal compositions. Practicing writing in tenor clef. Doing those things. Practice. Those are your weak areas, but what those things do is expand you into other territories, right? Increase other skill sets, which makes you more valuable in the music world. All right. No one really cares about the degree, the accolades. It's can you do it, and can you do it quickly and efficiently, right? If you show up to a studio session and they hand you a chart, you better know how to read that chart. If they ask you to take a solo, you better know what tones work over the key and the style that you're playing in, right? So what's going to help with that? Practicing scales, practicing chords, working on your ear, right? It's going to help you get more efficient in what you're doing. Drummers, work on your rudiments, work on traditional grip, work on match grip. Switch it up, make it fun. Maybe try setting up with the opposite hand. If you're left-handed, set up right-handed. If you're right-handed, set up left-handed and seeing what that does, right? Work on your foot, isolate certain things, right? Play a groove in your hands and do different grouping patterns in your foot. See what that does, right? Practice different styles. If you're a rock drummer, play some jazz. If you're a pop drummer, play some Latin. See what that does, all right? Add it to your arsenal, okay? I guarantee you're going to find some things that you can use to what you do mainstream. I guarantee you, right? Our wind instruments, circular breathing, our long tones, right? Our scales and our fingerings. One thing that I've learned that really helps wind players, especially those wind players that transpose, like saxophonists, trumpet, tuba, all these things, euphonium. Try to find things in concert key and transpose them to your key as you're reading. It's very hard to do. I've had to do it as a pianist many times. I've had to kind of do it as a bassist when you find basses or play basses that are in different tunings, right? It's a skill that is really hard to do, and you hopefully don't have to use it as much, but in the event that you get called for a gig or an engagement where the composer hands you a chart that's in concert key, it's going to be really impressive if you can just look at that thing and go, okay, cool, I understand that you had a little bit of an oversight, and still play it anyway. You will get called back. I can probably guarantee that you're going to get called back. All right. These are skills that are going to increase you as a musician, as somebody who contributes to this world of music, to this art of music. It's going to make you more valuable. It's going to make you more valuable. Okay. As a teacher, as a performer, as an arranger, it's just going to make you more valuable. All right. We don't like to practice, but it's so necessary. All right. Now, again, this is different from shedding. Shedding is where you go to work all this extra stuff out, is to go and demonstrate all this stuff, right? Hey, here's where I worked out in my practice time. Let's trade some ideas back and forth. And you might hear something, oh, snap, what's that? They show you what that is, then you take that back to the practice room. Is where you go with that, all right? You take some of those things that you hear at the woodshed back to the practice room and add it to your arsenal. Here's one rule of thumb. If you sound good in the practice room, you are not practicing. All right? Practice time is not a private shed time. Practice time is practice time. Now, that is not to say that it's wrong to hear improvement as you practice. If you start out working on, let's say, I want to play, 3 octave major scales at 120, right? And let's say at minute 1:15, it sounds like absolute garbage, but at minute 17, it's starting to sound pretty clean. That's good. That's good. That is excellent. That's what you want to hear, right? What we don't want to hear is, I want to practice major scales, and from minute 1:15 to minute 20, I'm sitting here killing and doing all these scales where I'm comfortable. That's not what we want to hear. That's shedding. All right, practicing is where we're working out those kinks, playing with both hands, going to contrary motion, doing the things that we're not good at, things that we may have identified on the gig or in the band room, in the ensemble setting that, hey, maybe I need to spend some time here, right? For those of us who play in church, if there's a song that we really struggled in, or we may know the song, but we just struggled in this key, or we can't modulate as well, or I had to use the transpose button in this scenario, work on those things in the practice room. Be able to play the same voicing in every key. Quickly, right? Make it feel like second nature, okay? That is practicing, all right? Now, here's the last tip I'm going to give you for practicing. Plan your practice time. I'm going to say it again. Plan your practice time, all right? I always tell everyone I have this conversation with that you can have a very productive 10 minutes, or you can have an unproductive hour. You can have a productive 10 minutes or an unproductive hour. It's quality, not quantity. Okay? So what does that mean? Let's say you only have 1 hour a day that you can practice. All right? You know for certain that you can have an hour a day. Now, you could have more other days. You could, maybe have less, but you have at least 1 hour a day to practice. Make the best use of that time that you can. All right. So I would recommend getting a notebook if you want to use your phone, if you want to use a planner, whatever you do. All right. And just plan your time. Let's say you want to spend maybe 5 to 10 minutes warming up, whatever warming up looks like for you. If that's scales, if that's long tones, circular breathing, whatever it is, certain vocal warm-ups that you can do, speech exercises, right? Spend 5 to 10 minutes, right? Then divvy it up. If you are a jazz musician, a pop musician, a gospel musician, whatever the case is, and there's some songs that are not really hot, or let's say you just had a gig, or you just had a service, and you had a couple songs that didn't go too hot, hit those. Go back and review them. If it's lyrics that you need to go back over, if there's a certain riff that's in the record that you didn't quite nail, go back and spend maybe 15, 20 minutes working on that stuff. Okay. Then what you can do is find the next thing that you need to work on. If it's some new material that you need to kind of get familiar with, work that out. If there's a certain move or a certain progression or a certain aspect of your playing that you think needs some work, whether it's a soloing tip, whether it is something that you learned at a shed, something that you're trying to execute, attack that next and try to see some improvement in that. All right. Listening is a good way to practice, right? Take some time and listen to some other things and try to identify what they're doing and take some notes and see what you can apply to your next practice session, whatever that is for you. I have a couple of things, that I do for myself depending on where I'm at. I want to learn some more jazz tunes, so I'm going to spend some time working on that. If it's a certain style, I want to work on soloing over. I want to learn how to, I want to get better at playing in odd meters. Let's spend some time playing the odd meter. If I know my foot is trash, I'm going to spend some time working on my foot, doing some triplets, doing some 16th notes, doing some different rhythmic groupings, right? If I need to spend some time working on my sight reading, that's going to be my practice time. I'm going to grab a book, I'm going to grab a hymnal, I'm going to grab a classical piece, whatever, and just flip and open it. I'm not practicing the piece, I'm working on sight reading, right? Whatever those weak areas are, spend some time working on that, and then when you get done, be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. Now, that does not mean beat yourself up. Being honest with yourself means, hey, I had a pretty good practice day. I wasn't distracted. I went in there. I adhered to my time. I saw improvement in this area. I'm not quite where I want to be, but I saw some improvement. This still needs some work. I didn't get to this. That still needs some work. And you know how to attack it the next time. All right? Or say, hey, today wasn't the best practice day. I was kind of distracted. I was on my phone. I didn't get to use my full hour. I'm going to fix that tomorrow. Be honest with yourself. All right? I guarantee you're going to see progression in every scenario that you play in. If you're like me and you play in multiple scenarios, if you do gospel, if you do R&B, if you do your own studio work, if you do jazz gigs, all that stuff, when you take advantage of your practice time, it shows up in every area. All right? And people are going to notice, and you're going to get called back. That's the goal, especially for the working, gigging musician. You want to get called back. All right? You want to get called back. So, practice. We don't like the P word, but we need it. Become one with it. Love it. Hold on to it. Tell it it's cute. Do whatever you do. Right? Practice, practice, practice. It pays off. All right. So hopefully this video helped you. Hopefully you can start to take advantage of your practice time. If you do not practice, hopefully this inspires you to start. All right. You are never too old to learn a new trick. It's never too late to go ahead and get started, get back in the game. All right. So as always, feel free to hit me up with any questions. Happy practicing, happy playing, happy music. Much love to you, and I will see you next time.